All right, so for the first instrument video on the trombone, we'll be going over basic notes, slide positions, and tuning and adjustments. So we'll actually start with slide positions. So slide positions is how you change notes. So this is the slide, as most of you all know. It is the trombone's primary feature, and it consists of 7 different positions to play notes in. So I'll just walk you through those right now. So firstly, we have first position. Try to hold it like this so you can kind of see. First position is home base. It's just the slide all the way back. Then out to second position, which is a little further out. And then the third position is right there, like right before the bell. And then fourth position, sorry, I'm trying to get a way that you can clearly see it. Fourth position's around here. Fifth position, sixth position, seventh position, okay? So as you are playing your music, you will be switching between positions, so you can switch between notes. You will probably be spending the least amount of time at 5th and 7th position. You will use 6th for C, which we'll get to in a second. But you'll spend a majority of your time in 1 through 4, which is nice because obviously it's good to be spending most of your time close here so you can make these changes faster and can more easily move. Basic notes. Basic notes, I would say most important ones to know are just the ones contained in the B-flat scale. That's what the next video will be on. So we'll go through the notes in this video. These are pretty much all the notes that you're going to need to know, at least to start. And then in the next video, we'll kind of put them together into a scale. And then in later on videos, we'll learn different notes and accidentals and such so that you can play a wider variety of music. First note. The first note will be the lowest note that we learn. It's in first position, as you can see here. So slide all the way back in. It's a B flat. It's either this or an F would be the note that you would probably just play if you just blew into your trombone without thinking about it. So I will demonstrate this now. So there's your first note. It's, like I said, B flat in first position. Then the next most useful note that you'll learn is the C, as I mentioned before, which is in 6th. So all the way out here. Might take me a brief moment to get it adjusted, which we'll go over later. But so that's the C. And just a quick point on slide positions past 4th. So 4th is pretty easy to hit because it's just a little bit past the bell. And then these other positions, it's a little harder to be consistent in terms of playing it right where it's supposed to be, but that'll just kind of come with time. A useful resource would be kind of look up trombone slide position graph and see exactly where you're supposed to be, and then just sort of every time you practice, try to consistently play in the right spot, and eventually it'll become muscle memory. Yeah, so next note. So we're just at C, just here. And then after that, we're going to come to a D, which is in 4th position. That was probably a little high for C. C's probably more like this. And then Next, we'll come up to a D, which is right here. D is in fourth position, as I said before. After that, we'll come to E flat. So you might be thinking, like, what does the flat mean in that? And flat is an accidental. There'll be a whole video on that later. But basically, if you start off with the note E, if it's flat, that means that it's one position lower. If it's sharp, that means it's one position higher. So E flat is just the one that's in the B flat scale. It's the one that you'll use more. So I figured that's more worth going over. But that'll be right here in third. Next, you'll come back to first position for F. After that, you will go up to G, which is in fourth position. And then A, which is in second. And lastly, you will end the scale and most of the notes that you'll be using early on with B flat. High B flat, as in an octave or a full set of notes higher than the last one. So, those are all of your most useful notes. There'll be another video on scales, which is next. So I'll be able to run through those again, so I'm not gonna do that right now. But that set of 8 or 9 notes is most of what you'll be using early on. And like I said before, everything else that you'll be adding will be covered in future videos. So if you watch all these, you'll be pretty much set. So last thing to cover will be tuning. Tuning is basically it's how to make sure that your instrument is set to the right pitch, if that makes sense. So how you do this is you have a tuning slide. You'll notice my trombone looks a little different than yours, but just ignore that for now. This big guy is the one that you also have. It's the one on the furthest out. That you should only have one of these guys. I have 2, but just worry about the big one when looking at mine. And pulling this guy, sorry, mine's a little snug. Pulling it out or pushing it in is how you adjust for tuning purposes. So what you'll do is you'll get a tuner. So I have an app on my iPad here. What you'll do is you'll play a note. From usually when you're tuning your instrument, you're going to play the high B flat, so the last note we covered. So I don't know if you could see that, but it said I was a little sharp. So what I'm going to do, or kind of what happens in this process, is you'll play a note, and then your tuner will either tell you that you're sharp or you're flat. And if you're sharp, you're going to take your tuning slide, so this guy that I pointed out before, you're going to pull it out a little bit, right? You're not going to pull it out much. You don't want to make a huge adjustment or over adjust. And if you're flat, you'll push it in, right? So push it back in. And then you'll play a note again, and then it'll either tell you sharp or flat again, or it'll tell you that you're good. And then once you're good, should be pretty much set for the session that you're playing in. Every time you start playing, you should tune. Try to get in the habit of doing that. One other thing that's nice is you will start be able to just hear like whether or not you're sharp or flat. So that's nice. That'll be a nice skill to have. But that's kind of later down the line. For now, I just use a tuner. Like I still use a tuner all the time. You know, you want to pick up those skills, but you also always want to be accurate over, experimenting, I suppose. And then one last quick thing. This video is getting kind of long, but just adjusting. Adjusting is like tuning, but while you're playing. So, for example, we have our E flat here in third. You can also tune with the slide. So, like, let's say I play this note. I intentionally made it a little sharp. To adjust for that, you can pull the slide out. So it'll go from this. Sorry, I kind of just adjusted without thinking. So it'll go from this to this. So if that wasn't obvious, I'll just play it the whole time, like also while I'm adjusting. So I'll go. And what you can do is you can use that to make sure all your notes are in tune, because with the trombone, it's kind of one big tuning slide. You have to focus on this guy, but also while you're playing, you need to be precise with your slide positions to make sure that's in tune too. So that's something that you'll worry about more later on. Right now, you're just worried about playing, but just figured I'd throw that in there to maybe start thinking about it. But I think that covers most everything when it comes to tuning, slide positions, and basic notes. And the next video will be about B-flat major scale, which we've already covered most of, but it'll be a little bit more focused on the notes. Today was more about tuning slide positions and a quick overview of the notes, whereas next video will be more dedicated to that. But, all right, I think that's all. I'll see you in the next one.